Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the first in-person Zoning Board of Appeal meeting. It's great to see everybody in person. Thank you, everybody, for attending. I'm so used to introducing the board, but I don't have to do that because we see everybody's here. So I'm going to launch right into our agenda. First order of business is to get a motion to approve a $27.72 charge to WB Mason for office supplies.
Motion to approve as stated.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Wonderful.
So happy we don't have
That
to
was
roll call.
exciting. All right. Here we go. Well, let's get into our first 6:30 public hearing, which is a continuation from the May 24th, 2021 meeting. It's to hear the appeal of 526 Hartford Turnpike, The Point at Hills Farm. This is located in a limited industrial Route 20 overlay district. Smart Growth Design LLC is the appellant, and it's for a modification to a comprehensive permit granted November 28th of 2016 pursuant to the provision of Chapter 40B, Section 20 to 23 of the Mass General Law to allow for a reduction of the density of units. Public hearing is open, and do we have Mr. Zaretti?
Good evening. For the record, Fred Zaretti, Smart Growth Design LLC, the proponent for the development. We're here this evening to ask for an extension and a continuation until next month.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion for a continuation of this hearing?
Madam Chair, when is the date for the next hearing? July what?
July 26th.
Thank you. I make a motion to continue this hearing to July 26th.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? So moved. Thank you, Mr. Zaretti.
Okay,
See
thank
you
you very
next
much.
month.
See you then.
Great. Okay. Next up, we have our 6:30 meeting is to hear the appeal of Joseph Faraka of 6 Darren Drive, Shrewsbury, Mass. For a variance to the Town of Shrewsbury zoning bylaw, Section 7, Table 2, to construct a deck 32 2/10 feet from the rear property line upon property located at 6 Darren Drive in the residential B2 district. The subject premise is described on the Shrewsbury Assessor's Tax Map 45, Plot 188007. The public hearing for 6 Darren Drive is a new public hearing. Could the appellant please introduce themselves
Hi, my name is Joseph Ficara. Nice to meet you.
as well?
When Signature Homes built our house, they submitted a plan that was out of variance. A couple of years ago, I came in and filed all the paperwork, had the variance approved, but unfortunately, I didn't get the paperwork in, so I'm having to come back to reapply it. My mom became quite ill that year, and it was my fault. I completely lost track of it, didn't realize that there was a time limit. So basically, we just want to replace our deck. Our deck is pretty old, and we need to file for the variance in order to replace the deck.
Great, thank you, thank you. Ms. McAllister, do we have any further information?
Not that I could add.
Okay, thank you. Questions and comments from the zoning board? I'm going to start to my right. Lisa?
Nothing has changed between the last time you applied for this variance and what you want to do now?
No, it's the exact same application that we submitted last time with the new forms. Nothing has changed.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Mulcahy, questions?
Nothing from me.
Thank you. Mr. Fullen?
I'm good.
Mr. Armenti?
All set.
And I'm all set as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to approve the special permit for 6?
Public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Sorry
order?
about that.
Open the public hearing.
Okay, so this is a public meeting, and is there a motion to, I'm sorry, am I
Open.
public comments? I'm so sorry. Is there anyone here who would like to be heard on this matter? There being none, I'd like to get a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful. Thank you. So can I get a motion to approve a special permit on 6 Darren Drive, please?
I believe it's a variance, Madam Chair.
Oh, excuse me, it is.
I believe so. Motion to
Yes.
approve variance for 6 Darren Drive.
Can I get a second?
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. And we're back to signing things, which I'm forgetting.
Oh, yeah.
So, thank you
Yes.
very
Very
much.
much.
This has to go signed.
And this is the bill? Or
That's
no,
the
this is
first
the
one.
continuance. Thank you. Continuance.
The only problem with the empty seat.
Oh, I know. And I have short arms. Okay.
Okay. Next 6:30 hearing is to hear the appeal of to hear the appeal of Gretchen Cotton, 1 Manor Road, Shrewsbury, Mass, for a special permit to the Town of Shrewsbury zoning bylaw.
You skipped me.
Grafton.
Madam Chairperson, I believe you skipped one.
What do I have? Here, let me see.
Grafton's.
It is out of order.
Right.
So, yeah,
I got 334
I can-
Grafton Street. Huh?
I don't know that.
here you go. It's out of order, so. There you
Well,
go.
there we go.
One Manor Road?
No.
Okay.
We are going to skip to 334 Grafton Street, and this is to hear the appeal of Paul J. Gaudette, 334 Grafton Street, Shrewsbury, Mass, for 3 special permits for the Shrewsbury zoning bylaw under Section 6B and Section 7, Table 1, and 2 variances for the Shrewsbury zoning bylaw under Section 7L and Section 7, Table 1, to allow alterations of an existing non-conforming lot for horizontal mixed use, construction and operation of a garage and repair shop and a sales room for automobiles, and construction and usage of a non-conforming common driveway for commercial and residential purposes upon the property located at 334 Grafton Street, 338R Grafton Street, and 338 Grafton Street in the Residential A District and Commercial Business District. This special permit is described on the Shrewsbury Assessor's Tax Plate 34, Plot 0290000. Whew, whew, thank you. Okay,
Well, thank you to the chair. If I may.
please.
Madam Chair and members of the board, for the record, I know you know me, but for the record, my name is Richard Ricker, and I'm an attorney with law offices at 11 Maple Avenue, and I'm here representing Paul Gaudette, the petitioner for this form of appeal. You may recall, some of you may recall, that he was before you in December of 2020 for very similar requests. The property that we're talking about is isolated. This is Grafton Street here. The only way to get to this property is through a right-of-way. It's a deeded right-of-way, 40 feet in width. And the only way to get to the property, which has no frontage whatsoever, is to use that right-of-way. He has been using that to access the house here. The selectmen, just prior to our last meeting with you, granted him licenses to operate a garage and to do automobile sales there, which is something that he had been doing at property over here for, I'd say, decades.
Yes.
For a long time. So as you can tell from the letter that you've got in your packets from his neighbors, that his neighbors signed, they're all familiar with him. He's been a neighbor there for all these years, and he wants to continue in that vein. Now, the hardship here, obviously, is you have a large isolated lot, all right, that has no frontage and has only one means of access, and that being from a right-of-way off of Grafton Street. You've also got a lot that is bisected with the commercial business and residence A property line. This is a very unique lot. It's a very unique situation. I would suggest to you that it's incidental only to this lot, and it presents a hardship. In order to use the major portion of the lot for the commercial business, which is the major portion of the lot, he needs to ask you for this variance. I would suggest, therefore, that it is topographical, because he does have, it's an isolated lot, and it's all alone there. And combining the access and bisecting of the lot itself, gives you the hardship that is required for this request. If I could pass these along.
Please.
These are photos. One is an aerial showing you the proximity. This lot, as you can tell from the plan, backs up to Home Depot, okay? There's quite a bank in there. How many feet would you say that bank is?
It's at least 20 with a fence on top of it.
Right. So what we've done with this proposal is we've asked to push the building back to the west, further away from the residences down on Grafton Street. And this moves it about 30 feet further back from the previous plan. And we have faced the garage doors, the overhead garage doors, away from the residences, so that everything is basically away from the residential components down here, okay? That is the difference of the plans, other than, instead of running the driveway, as we did here, this is the old plan, we ran the driveway in front of the house to get up here, had some parking up here. We used a good portion of the commercial lot, which is now left open and is clear and would have all of the parking further away from the residential neighbors. As I suggested to you, you have in your packet basically a request from the neighbors that they've signed asking you to consider this because they like it much better than the previous plan. Now, I did speak with Rowan earlier about the common drive request that's before you. You may recall that we asked for relief from the common drive standards in order to use bituminous grindings for the driveway to coming up from Grafton Street in front of the house and then to the garage. If, as I believe we've agreed, this common drive consists of just this section right here with a driveway off of here for the house, a driveway off of here potentially for the lot that has the greenhouse on it now. There's a large greenhouse there. It hasn't been used for a while, but it's still there. And then a driveway to the garage. Then your common drive is right here. And if that is the case, that is the common drive, then my client is willing to withdraw the request for the variance from the standards of the common driveway, in as much as we feel that this driveway serving 3 lots needs to be at least up to standards up to here. So he would pave this to the commercial standards, and the rest of the driveway would continue as a driveway and to his garage, where he has a license to sell up to 9 cars and to repair. So essentially, what I'm suggesting is, if this is the common drive, as we've agreed, then we would withdraw that particular variance request. Other than that, the automobile sales and the garage use are allowed by special permit, and I would suggest that this particular location, it would be clear, I think, to all of us that there's no nuisance value to this, there's no noise value to this, there really isn't any harm to any of the neighbors. In fact, the neighbors have said to you that they're okay with it and they want this new plan to go forward. As far as the variance for the other variance, obviously that's the horizontal mix variance, which is a fairly new concept, horizontal mixed use. And I would suggest, again, we need that variance in order to do what he is asking to do, which is to utilize the lot that you have before you. And I would suggest respectfully that the hardships that I've discussed with you previously would support that request. And I think that is basically it. We're not asking you for the relief from the common driveway standards any longer, but we are asking you for the special permits. And obviously, the third special permit is the alteration of the non-conforming lot by doing what he's doing. So that's just that. It's a separate special permit, but it's a special permit to do the actual alteration of a prior non-conforming lot. Paul, as I said, he's been in Shrewsbury, he's been a Shrewsbury resident since 1966. You know, he's got a good reputation, he's a good rapport with his neighbors. Respectfully, I'd ask you to consider these requests. And if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Attorney Ricker. Ms. McAllister, any further info?
Just to confirm that the town planner and I both agree that it is a common driveway up until the edge of that, the subject lot. And if it is built or constructed to standards, the variance can be withdrawn.
Okay. All right, let's work through the zoning board members here and see if they have questions or comments.
So I want to just confirm that we're removing the variance for construction and use of a non-conforming common driveway, but all other things are in play? The
Correct.
variance for the horizontal mixed use and 3 special permits?
That's correct.
Okay. My comments haven't changed since the last time we heard this appeal. I'm in support of the mixed use, actually. I think it makes sense, and the way it's laid out on the property, the garage and commercial part of the use is in fact in that part of the parcel. There's 2 zones going on here. And I'm happy actually to see that you've come up with this solution for the common driveway and that the neighbors, the abutting neighbors can maybe take advantage of it. So I might have a question after hearing comment from other members, but nothing has changed for me since the last time you came before us.
Mr. Mulcahy?
Sure. I agree with Mr. Ricker's analysis in terms of the variance. I think it's clear that this is a unique situation, both for the reason that the back of the lot is sort of isolated and it's bifurcated between the 2 zoning areas. I don't have a problem with the variance for the horizontal mixed use for that reason. I think it's very thoughtfully designed, and I'm glad to hear that the neighbors are happy with the way it's turned out. I have no problems with it at all.
Mr. Fullen?
I am good.
Are you sure?
Positive.
This is my first time
Subjective
meeting him in
question.
person, you know.
Mr. Armenti?
I'll echo Pat.
Okay, all right, well, I agree. I think everything that's been discussed. The only question I have is the length of the driveway.
Yep.
Just so that I understand scale, can you give me an idea of that?
It's about 250 feet
Okay,
to get up to that point where it turns off to the garage. Yeah.
it's a long driveway.
So it's still a financial issue, but,
Sure.
you know, that alone is not enough for a variance, so.
Right, this plan makes sense to me, so I don't really have any further comments.
And Madam Chair, I just want to confirm,
Yes.
since the variance is being removed from this discussion, we don't really have to talk about the driveway at all.
Correct.
Oh, that's
So-
true.
Okay. If we did, I might have some comments, but since you're not going to be including that in the application, that's great.
Okay, well, given that, it's a public hearing, is there any members of the public that wish to be heard on this matter? I used to have to wait a long time before someone stood up, but I don't have to do that anymore.
See you all.
I feel so good about that, I
You're
can't
on
even
mute.
tell you.
Yeah, unmute everyone.
This is like,
Star 6.
yeah, star 6, please. Okay, so can I get a motion to close the public hearing, please?
Motion to close?
Can I get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved, great. So, can I get a motion to remove, sorry, what's the,
I think we can.
Allow withdrawal.
Correct me if I'm wrong,
we need to,
Rowan,
Yep.
can we just read the variances and special permits that are still in play and then make a
Do we have to
motion?
vote
You
on the
do have to
withdrawal?
vote to withdraw.
To allow
So
us to withdraw.
withdraw without prejudice.
so can I get a motion to withdraw without criticism? Is that the right word?
Prejudice.
Prejudice, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Prejudice. The variance, section 7L, construction and use of a non-conforming common driveway.
Motion as stated?
Can I get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Now,
Yeah.
let's make a motion to approve. We're looking at a variance and 3 special permits. Variance is Section 7, Table 1 for horizontal mixed use. We're looking for a special permit, Section 7B for an existing non-conforming lot. Special permit, Section 7, Table 1 for a garage and a repair shop, and a special permit to Section 7, Table 1 for a sales room for automobiles. Can I get a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to modify the motion as stated. I want to make sure we're referencing the right sections,
Oh, did I-
please. So I'll make the motion, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I make a motion to approve a variance for Section 6, Table 1 for horizontal mixed use, special permit, Section 4B for an existing non-conforming lot, special permit, Section 6, Table 1 for a garage and repair shop, special permit, Section 6, Table 1 for a sales room for automobiles for 334 Grafton Street.
Can I get a second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Nice to see you all in person.
Yeah, you too.
Yes.
It is nice.
Five sheets in this one, so not. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's the one we, no, that is the, no, she replaced it with the withdrawal.
Okay.
The next one's 12 Fifth Ave.
What's that?
Just,
Yes,
I think you're reading
12
from
Fifth
the legal notice.
Yeah.
Just make sure you.
Thank you.
Yep,
What's that about?
my mistake for switching
That's
those on
okay.
you.
So,
You get a copy?
just when you think you got it figured
I don't
out.
I
mention
know.
that you guys
We'll do it
do
better
the,
next time.
No, it's fine.
Yeah,
have all the signed
oh, yeah.
Thank you all for your patience while we muddle through our
You know,
first
what the abutters have to say.
Muddle
live
Gonna
meeting.
play a huge
Right,
role,
it's
right?
been a long time.
All
Can't
right,
be positive either. I mean,
Right.
continue on.
do the lot.
Okay.
owner.
Next 6:30 hearing is to hear the appeal of Michael Lewin, 200 Connors Street, Fitchburg, Mass., for a special permit to the Town of Shrewsbury zoning bylaws under Section 7, Table 1.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Section 6, Table 1, to construct an in-law apartment within a single-family dwelling upon property located at 12 Fifth Ave in the residential B2 district. The subject premises is described on the Shrewsbury Assessor's Tax Plate 31, Plot 009000. Public hearing for 12 Fifth Ave is a new public hearing. Could the appellant please, hello there. How are you?
Wow, they're right there. Sorry.
You guys don't understand what we've been through for the last 12 months.
Michael Lewin's right there also, but there are only 2 chairs, so.
Oh, you can
He's
pull up
welcome to
another
Pull
one.
up another chair.
Oh, okay.
She's going to speak for you. Okay, well, there we go.
Smart man.
Yeah, smart man, that's right. Can I ask the appellant to please introduce themselves?
Hi, I'm Jessica Brown of MTL Realty Partners Construction, owned by Michael Lewin, license holder. This is Jennifer Bro, homeowner, 12 Fifth Ave, Shrewsbury. And we're here to request approval of special permit for, yes, to construct an in-law apartment in the basement of her single-family home. It's currently laundry space, storage, has a garage door that it does not have a garage behind it, so it's just an open space. We have, currently she has her mother living there with her in the home already, so there won't be any increased traffic. Most of the work will be done inside the home, course, replacing the garage door with an entry door. There'll be an egress window installed in the bedroom in the space. And the stairwell, I've already discussed with a few people here, will not be touched as we won't be able to make it to code, so we just have to leave it as it is. And so, I don't know if you have any more questions for us in regards to this, but.
We will,
that's
I'm
basically
sure.
it. Okay, I'm sure too.
Ms. McAllister?
I would just advise the board to remember those conditions that we normally add with in-law apartments. I can read them. They're as follows. An in-law apartment shall not be occupied by more than 3 persons related by blood or marriage, the principal resident, and the rights authorized by the issuance of the special permit shall be limited to, Jennifer Bro, I believe?
That's me.
Yeah, and shall remain in effect during their ownership and occupancy of the premises.
Thank you. Okay, let's, comments and questions from our other members. Lisa?
Hi, I just want to make sure you are aware that this use can't pass to a new homeowner if you were to sell. Just make sure you understand that.
Right.
And I understand there is no certified plot plan in this application, and I guess we're going to be waiving that request, correct? Which is fine, because it looks like the footprint of the house is not changing at all. You're just doing construction inside your home to allow a family member who you love to be able to live there with you.
Yes.
So I have no issues. Thank you. I
Thank
think
you.
you should be allowed to do this, no problem.
Mr. Mulcahy?
Nothing from me, thank you.
Mr. Fullen?
Still good.
Okay, wonderful. Good. Mr. Armenti?
Thank
We're
you.
still good, okay. I just have one question about the egress. What was your comments with regard to the egress?
We'll be making sure there's an egress window put in, so currently they're hopper windows, and so we'll be making sure there's an egress window with a well in the back where the bedroom will be. So there are 2 points of egress in the space, because currently there's the stairs down, and there'll be an entry out, but the bedroom will have an egress window,
Okay.
which is not
wonderful.
currently there. It's on the plan, I believe.
Yeah.
so.
Yep, okay, great. We have no further questions? Given that this is a public hearing, are there any members of the public that wish to be heard on this matter?
Yeah, I have a question.
Certainly.
Who's the owner of the property right now?
Oh, please, can I get your name and address?
Roberto, 9 Fifth Ave.
I'm the owner.
It's listed as Michael Lewin. Is he here?
Yes, I'm the contractor. I'm the one
Okay.
asking for the special
You don't
permit.
own the property.
I do.
Jen owns the property.
They
Michael
listed
Lewin.
him as the owner.
It's because he's the contractor that applied for the special
Okay.
permit.
Okay.
So that's,
It was confusing.
yeah, no, we get confused all the time on that, I understand, completely.
That's different. That's very different. Okay.
You all set?
Yes, thank you.
Anyone else wish to be heard? Okay, wonderful. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing, please?
Motion to close?
Can I get a second?
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful, so moved. Can I guess we're gonna have to get a motion to waive the certified plot plan?
Motion to waive plot plan?
Can I get a second?
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Okay, now let's get a motion to approve a special permit to Section 6, Table 1, to construct an in-law apartment within a single-family dwelling at residence at 12 Fifth Ave.
Motion to approve as stated?
Can I get a second?
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Congratulations. Thank you. Okey-dokey. Man behind the scenes here. Okay. Next 6:30 hearing. Let me just make sure I've got this right. This is 1 Manor Ave. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay, this is to hear the appeal of Gretchen Cotton, 1 Manor Road, Shrewsbury, Mass., for a special permit to the Town of Shrewsbury zoning bylaws under Section 6(4)B and Section 7(b), Table 2, to expand an existing screen porch on an existing non-conforming single-family dwelling upon property located at 1 Manor Road in the Residence B1 District. The subject premise is described on the Shrewsbury Assessor's Tax Plate 26, Plot 061000. And this is a public hearing, so can we have the appellant please introduce themselves, although you're not the appellant? Well, you are.
Good evening, Madam Chairperson, members of the board. My name's Diana Sladen. I'm an attorney with Sladen & Costigan right in downtown Shrewsbury, and I represent Ms. Cotton, who is unavailable this evening. She is traveling out of town. She's a resident of Shrewsbury for a significant period of time and has resided at 1 Manor Road for quite some time. On the application was also listed William Cotton. That's her husband, who is now since deceased. My client's looking to expand the porch that's currently on her property to a screened-in porch and expand the size. As it stands right now, the subject property is non-conforming pre-existing due to the property line distance. The current building is 34.8 feet from the property line, and Shrewsbury requires a 40-foot distance between the property line and the subject property. So at this point in time, a special permit is required to complete the construction on the property. Ms. Cotton has relayed to me that she has discussed the project with her neighbors and didn't hear any objections. So at this point, we'd be seeking approval from the board for a special permit.
Thank you. Ms. McAllister, anything further to add?
Nope.
Okay. Let's chat with our other board members to see if we have comments or questions. Lisa?
Hi, thank you. I'm trying to, I just want to make sure I understand the appeal. There's nothing on the plot plan showing an existing, oh, I'm sorry. I am looking at the certified plot plan from May 10th. And it shows an existing screen porch that's 11.7 by 13.7?
Correct.
Correct? What will the dimensions of the new screened-in porch be?
The new screened-in porch is going to expand, I believe it's 8 feet horizontally, and it's 8 feet
Toward the
across.
bulkhead?
Correct.
And then,
And then inward
16
towards the
by
property.
16
Yeah.
shows.
There's a second plot
oh,
plan in
thank
the
you.
packet.
That's what I'm looking for. We
That's
usually
in
get that. Which,
It's
what's
a
it
few
called?
more.
It should be,
Certified plot plan.
At the bottom.
yep.
1 Manor Road expansion plan, 61421 PDF.
Ah, thank you. It's at the top because I have it sorted the wrong way. Okay. Ah, thank
2
you.
feet to the
Yes.
west and
Thank you.
5, that can't be right.
I have it now.
No, that's
And
right.
is this a
5 feet to
special
the west.
permit? Yes, so not a variance. Okay.
And 2 feet the other way.
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
And I'm sorry, can you confirm again, you did mention it's for the rear yard setback? for-
Is the 34.8 feet, and it's supposed to be 40 feet setback per
Okay.
the zoning bylaw.
Okay. Okay, thank you for confirming.
Mr. Mulcahy?
Sure. So for a special permit, the things we're supposed to consider are like whether it's going to be unsightly and all that kind of thing, but we don't have a picture of what it's going to look like. Can you just describe what it'll look like?
Certainly. So as you can see from the certified plot map, it's actually set in the back of the property, so there shouldn't be any issue from the street view where it's going to obstruct the overall look of the neighborhood. It would be in line with other properties that are in that neighborhood, and it's just going to allow Ms. Cotton to have further enjoyment and use of her property, especially in New England where it's not always appropriate to have an unscreened porch, so.
But just a classic screened-in porch,
Correct,
you know,
yes.
some upright supports, screens, and a little
Exactly.
roof. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's all for me.
Mr. Fullen?
It looks pretty hidden back there to me, so I have no problem.
Thank you.
Mr. Armenti?
No concerns from me.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have no further concerns as well. Given that this is a public hearing, is there anyone that wishes to be heard on this matter? Okay. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close?
Can I get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful. Can I get a motion to approve special permit, section 4B, to expand an existing screen porch on an existing non-conforming single-family dwelling at 1 Manor Road, resident B1?
Motion to approve as stated?
Can I get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you.
Aye. I was zoning. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Attorney Sladen.
Thank you.
Lisa, that's the
Oh,
last
oh
one.
my gosh,
All right, we got
okay,
it.
this one is all signed.
Is that the five?
Yes.
Can you check that? Thank you.
Sorry. Let me sign this.
There's a second one.
Thank you.
Okay. Next 6:30 hearing. This is to hear the appeal of Victoria Thibodeau and Brian Thibodeau of 15 Eastwood Road, Shrewsbury, for a special permit to the Town of Shrewsbury zoning bylaws under Section 4B and Section 6B, Table 2, to construct a porch and deck on an existing non-conforming single-family dwelling upon property located at 15 Eastwood Road in the Residence B1 District. The subject premise is described on the Shrewsbury Assessor's Tax Plate 28, Plot 221000. Hello there.
Again.
Welcome back.
I figured I would just hang tight here.
Thank you.
Attorney Diana Sladen again on behalf of Victoria and Brian Thibodeau. Victoria is here, and she's got baby Thibodeau with her, who's been voicing her own opinions this evening. So they are present, and Brian is actually on patrol, so he is not able to be present today. So we were actually before the zoning board last month seeking a special permit as well, and we had mentioned at the last meeting that there was a clerical error in omitting a portion of the deck, the porch, the front porch that's going to be expanded to the side of the home. So this special permit is simply seeking the opportunity to expand the porch to the west and back from the property line. The current property is pre-existing non-conforming, currently at 24.5 feet from the front property line, where it should be 30 feet. And the existing porch will once again be another issue of it 23.9 feet from the property line. So at this point, we need the special permit in order for them to expand the deck. We did provide statements of support from neighbors that there's no objection. It would certainly conform with the topography of the neighborhood, as there are other properties on Eastwood Road that have a farmer's porch in front of it. So there should be no nuisance or any further traffic or any concerns of that nature, much like the last special permit they requested. And I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Thank you. Lisa?
I think this is negligible. It's, the proposed porch will be much more in keeping with the new construction, and we're talking, such a minimalist change. I have no issue with it.
Thank you.
It is becoming more non-conforming, but
A smidgen.
Tiny bit.
yeah. And it's sorry, I keep talking and then you just say one word. I don't know. We're just
That's always how
polar
it's done.
opposites. It's a difficult lot. It's a corner type configuration. So I think you're doing the best you can in that lot. So
Thank you.
nice job. All right.
Thank you,
That's
Lisa.
I agree with all that.
Thank you.
Mr. Fullen?
I think it'll look great.
Oh, he's getting wordy.
Yeah, he's getting a little wordy for us.
He's feeling pressure from the baby.
That could be.
No concerns, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, and I am very, very happy with what you've presented, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, wonderful. Given that this is a public hearing, is there anyone that wishes to be heard on this matter? Okay, thank you very much. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing, please?
Motion to close?
Can I get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right, so can I get a motion to, motion for a, sorry, I'm losing my,
15 Eastwood.
so can I get a motion to approve a special permit, Section 4B, Section 7, Table 2, to construct a porch and deck on an existing non-conforming single-family dwelling at 15 Eastwood Road, Resident B1.
Motion to approve as stated?
Can I get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Lisa?
Oh, and these are all signed.
Thank you. Okay, next up, our 6:30 hearing. This is to hear the appeal of Seth Davis, 12 View Street, Shrewsbury, Mass., for a special permit to the Town of Shrewsbury zoning bylaws, Section 9, to remove and replace an existing non-conforming garage upon property located at 12 View Street in the Resident B2 district. The subject premise is described on the Shrewsbury Assessor's Tax Plate 26, Plot 123000. Could the appellant please introduce themselves?
Hi guys, Seth Davis here with Davis Construction. Homeowners are out of town this week. So we have an existing garage that we're looking to demolish, keep the existing footprint and rebuild. Pretty much it,
That's
cut and
it?
dry, exact same spot, same size, everything.
Okey-dokey.
We're hoping to keep the foundation, but it's a possibility in demo, we might have to replace it.
Okay. Mrs. McAllister?
Just to point out that the side yard setback, which is the closest for this garage, is 1.6 feet, so it is fairly close to the lot line. But again, as the applicant stated, it's being rebuilt. Then the minimum setback, side yard setback required in this district is 10 feet. So it is, like I said, close to the line, but that's it.
Music tonight. Okay. Great, thank you. Questions, comments, Lisa?
So I do have questions, but the owner of the property is not here, but I'll ask you, in these non-conforming situations, it is easier to just use the existing footprint?
Yeah, you know, they're gonna save a ton of money. I don't think they could afford to, change it.
Do anything else?
Yeah.
Because,
And the garage is ready to fall down. It is bad.
so what I'm saying is there is a chance or an opportunity here to make a new garage that's 10 feet away from the property line.
If we.
Did they
if-
consider all that?
The project will not go forward if we have to put a new foundation in.
Okay,
And
so
that
you're
was
gonna
very-
demolish,
Well, we're gonna do some assessment. I still have to talk to the building inspector about this too, but yes, if it needs a new foundation, we're not moving forward.
you're gonna rethink, they'll rethink what they want?
Yeah, there's just not
Okay.
enough in the budget to do it. And
Okay.
I don't think we need to, so I'm hoping we don't.
Okay, all right. I have no other questions. They're staying with the existing nonconformities and trying to use the footprint that exists, so. No issue.
Mr. Mulcahy?
Yeah, I think that answers my kind of concern with this. I think if there was a really significant chance you were going to remove the existing foundation and build a new one, I'd say build
Yeah,
it
we
10
would
feet from the
definitely
line.
push it over, yeah.
You know, but if you're thinking you'll be able to use it and otherwise it won't go forward, that kind of moves the needle for me.
Yeah.
Mr. Fullen?
It can only look better, so
Okay.
there's no problem.
Great, thank you. Mr. Amenti?
I agree with Peter.
Okay. And I am totally fine with the project, so thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Given that this is a public hearing, does anybody wish to be heard on this matter? A lot of people out there, so somebody wants to be heard. Okay,
Not yet.
not yet. So let's get a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close?
Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wonderful, so moved. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Wait, that was just closing the hearing, or was that the?
We didn't, closing the
Oh.
hearing only, we're gonna now vote on
You
that.
know what?
Okay, because he's leaving.
He's leaving.
Well, he isn't,
That's okay. He doesn't,
he isn't.
he'll learn about that
He'll be
later.
notified.
He was
They'll be
happy.
notified of our decision. Can I get a motion to approve special permit, section 6B?
4B.
I'm sorry, 4B, and section 9 to remove and replace an existing non-conforming garage at 12 View Street.
Motion to approve as stated?
Can I get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Everybody's here for that one.
Yeah.
Oh, sleeping again.
They probably have to have you
Did you do it?
for the last one.
Any more sign?
Yeah, or did you give them back?
I think I have them all.
Yeah, right. I think got it.
Okay. That brings us to what I think is our last hearing. Could be wrong, but I think I'm right. Okay. Let's move on to our last 6:30 hearing. This is to hear the appeal of Michael Hopkins, 110 Lake Street, Shrewsbury, Mass, pursuant to Section 9B1 of the Shrewsbury zoning bylaws of the issuance of a building permit, R21-207, for property located at 2 Janet Circle, Shrewsbury, Mass, described on the Shrewsbury Assessor's Tax Plate 33, Plot 283000, the property. The appellant is appealing under Section 6 of the Shrewsbury zoning bylaws due to traffic, parking, size of structure, and a project not in keeping with the neighborhood at 2 Janet Circle in the Residence B1 District. Can the appellant please introduce himself?
Good evening. For the record, my name is Michael Hopkins.
Good evening.
Members of the board, thank you for taking your time today to meet with us. On behalf of myself and the longtime residents of Janet Circle, we are respectfully requesting a continuance of the matter involving number 2 Janet Circle, as we were not formally given ample and reasonable notice to be able to retain legal counsel to assist in this matter. We're requesting a 30-day continuance.
Thank you.
Okay. That's acceptable, yeah.
Is that anything that we need to understand on that?
No, we can, I don't know if we'd like to just vote to continue, but if there's any public comment that would be like to be heard, we could,
We
but
could listen to public comment.
potentially we could also just continue and
I think
then.
it might be prudent to continue it until, given that that's what you're looking for.
Correct.
I have a comment. To help not offset, dissuade, what's the word I want, Peter? I would hate to see you and your neighbors spend a lot of money in seeking legal counsel. So you may decide to do that anyway, but Madam Chair, I would like to hear the public comment and possibly also comment back so that everyone here could decide whether they want to continue or not. But that's just me. I don't know if the rest of you feel that way.
Well, given that there's so many,
I have a point of order then.
sure.
If we were to open the meeting for comment and have a discussion, would they be prevented from still
Continuing?
moving to continue and getting legal counsel if they desired? Like, once we open it, in other words, is it just open?
So you can, you can open and then you'll vote to continue.
We won't vote to close.
So you just won't vote to close?
I just want to make sure people aren't prevented from getting counsel.
I appreciate that.
Right.
Thank you.
As a lawyer, I feel like I have to keep that
Yeah.
option open for everybody.
Resident lawyer here.
So you're all here, so Madam Chair, I would
Yeah, I tend to agree.
like to
If
hear.
everyone's here, then.
Okay, so let's open it up
Do we-
to,
Well,
What?
point of order, do we want to have the owner of do you want to invite any comment from the owner at this point, or just hear public comment, I guess?
Is the owner here?
I'm not sure.
the
I'm
owner
gonna
is
wait.
here, I believe. Yep, so perhaps that might be a prudent way to
To start, that
approach
would
it.
be wonderful if
Okay.
you are okay with that, the appellant?
Sure.
Wonderful. We'll start
Okay,
with the
so-
owner of the property and then, I guess,
Let's
They'd like to, but
invite the owner of the property up if he so desires to speak.
It's up to you, I'm really not quite sure. It's not really my meeting, or James Dunn and Casa, Whitney Street Home Builders, or St. Jane Francis Properties. Really not sure what you want me to do. I was just kind of here to listen to see what happened. It's not really my meeting, it was their meeting, so it's up
need
to
to
you.
comment.
Feel free to
It's okay.
answer questions through the board, but
Madam
That
Chair?
makes sense.
Yes, sir.
It would be helpful for me to just sort of hear an overview of what they hope to do and what the project would be like if it were approved.
Mr. Benincasa, would you mind giving us an overview of the project?
Sure. So we're building a single-family home. We conform to all the setbacks, all the regulations. We're not asking for any waivers. We're not asking for anything. So we already have a building permit on it. Foundation's in, certified, done, framing starting Thursday.
As far as the programming?
Really can't speak too much on that.
Okay.
That would be,
It's
it's
just
a
a
single-family home,
building,
vast
yeah.
general law, it's a
Gotcha.
single-family home. Anything considered otherwise would be discrimination, so,
Right.
single-family.
Okay.
Where did you get a permit for this?
Excuse me, point of order, we're gonna get to you in a moment. Thank you. Mr. Benincasa, board?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I want to make sure we all understand what the appeal is for. So the building inspector issued a building permit for this home, and the home is being built, as we just heard. Foundation's going in.
Foundation is already in.
Already in, already in, and building will continue
Correct.
by right.
Correct.
And you can have a seat.
Okay.
But in a butter, Mr. Hopkins, thank you, is coming before us or has applied for an appeal of this decision by the building inspector to issue the building permit. So when that happens, when someone appeals a permit that was issued by the building inspector, if they take issue with it, they then appeal that decision and come to this body. And we have to either agree with that or stand by the building inspector's decision to issue the building permit. So that's why you're all here tonight. So I guess, Madam Chair, we can go ahead and hear some public comment and maybe answer some questions.
In a moment, I would like to invite Ms. McAllister here to give us information, further information.
Sure. I mean, I can provide kind of a zoning overview as well. I can speak to a bit of the perspective from the building inspector and provide a brief overview about kind of the context of this for the board. So, as Lisa mentioned, this is an appeal of the building permit issued on May 5th, 2021. And I will share that the structure at 2 Janet Circle is intended for use as a dwelling for substance-free adults. That is the term that I use. I mean, happy to be corrected. This project was recognized under the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 3, also known as the Dover Amendment, which does prohibit the regulation or restriction of the use of land or structures for religious or educational uses. So our town council and building inspector did review the proposed use and found that it fell under this characterization. And additionally, recovery from substance abuse is considered a disability and a protected class under the Federal Fair Housing Act. And so, therefore, the protected status of this use does mean that for the purposes of zoning, this is considered a single-family house. And that's really the crux of this issue, is that the building inspector and planning staff are constrained by this and can't impose restrictions that other single-family dwellings do not face. Meaning the dwelling meets parking requirements, it meets dimensional setbacks for the district, and obviously, unfortunately, the planning and zoning department can't control the aesthetic appearance of the structure. So thus the permit was issued. And, with that, we can kind of wrap up, but.
Very helpful, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anybody that wishes to be heard on this matter? I'm going to open it up to public comments. One at a time, if I could ask you to identify yourself, stand up, identify yourself, name and address, and speak clearly, please.
Certainly. Mark Paseglia. I live in I've lived on 5 Elaine Street. I'm directly across from the lot at Janet Circle. This is a postage-sized lot. The plot plans say that there's going to be 8 bedrooms in there, and 6 of them have 2 closets. This is going to potentially house a lot of people on a postage-sized lot. it's a concern because it's way out of, it's completely different than anything in the area. And it is going to be essentially a boarding house. Now, if they're gonna do that, you're gonna get the residents of that area to leave and possibly try to turn their houses into boarding houses, because that makes a lot of money. But our concern is, there's children in that neighborhood, we know it's protected, we know we can't do anything about that. But the building itself is completely out of context with anything in the area. It's a huge structure on a postage stamp lot. It's going to reduce the values of our houses and lots. It's going to put, well, I can't say anything else about that, but I'd really like everyone to know what is really going in there and how many people are really gonna be there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Masiglia. Anybody else wish to be heard on this matter? Sir?
Hi, David Kelly, 71 Janice Circle. Single-family dwelling, is that what this is? You can use that term and be a blatant lie, is that acceptable? It's not a single family, it's not a family. It's an 8-room.
Yeah.
They're not related.
Can I?
8-bedroom, 16 possible people living in this house. Now, we want to get together, get this site surveyed, make sure all exact to the inch that this is legal. We haven't had time to do that. We are going to spend money on a lawyer, whether it's a waste, whether you think so or not. But we have no time to do any of this. We need a continuance.
Okay,
That's
thank
all I
you.
got to say.
Yes, sir.
If you don't mind, I have difficulty standing.
That's fine.
My name is Ben Tycho. My wife Lynn and I live at 6 Elaine Street. There are only 2 houses on Elaine Street, and it goes right into 2 Janet Circle. So we're right across from that. We've lived in our home in Shrewsbury. It will be 50 years this November. And this is a single-family, some duplex neighborhood of a certain character. I think, well, first of all, until I was notified by some neighbors, we never got notice of anything happening. And I don't know the laws, you know, I'm not expected to, I don't know how that happens. I know 20 years ago, when we were like the other folks here, wanting to put a 3-season room that was 8 feet beyond, we had to go through this board and all the other things. The only notice we got, our neighbors told us, so I called the buildings department and got a letter dated June 11th, which I received June 13th. So that was the first notice. So you get suspicious when all of a sudden new structures going in, nobody hears anything, and we haven't heard from the developer or the owner. I mean, other people tonight have talked. We contacted our neighbors, so we have no idea what's happening in our neighborhood. And we feel that we want to know what's happening. We want to know what will be there. It is, as someone said, a postage stamp lot, and it goes on a curve. So if there were 8 bedrooms and appropriate cars, there's no way. The cars would have to be on the road in violation every night. They'd have to be. But I don't know how that will be. But I would request, and it seems you're very willing, and I appreciate it, to have at least time for us to organize a bit, find out what our real rights and responsibilities are. So I would appreciate that, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tycho. Ms. McAllister, can you just address the question with regard to the single-family status?
Yes. So I do understand why it is it's confusing to have an 8-bedroom house with multiple closets, multiple people, but the definition of a single family is that you can move freely throughout the structure. It's not a 2-family, it's not a multi-family, because any resident of the house can move around within the entirety of the structure. There's no dividing walls, there's no, off-limit spaces, so to speak. So that's why it is considered a single family. The structure itself is considered a single family. And then I would just add that I understand that it is frustrating that there was a lack of notification, but it is not typical to notify with the pulling of a building permit for a single-family house. If we did that, we would be sending out lots of notices all the time. So, you know, that's unfortunate, but that's just the way we do it.
I understand, but I mean, it's not a typical single-family house. I know you have your legal definitions and everything, but an 8-bedroom in that neighborhood, we're not talking about East Main Street, we're not talking East Main. The houses in that neighborhood are of a certain size and manner. Most of them have a couple or maybe 2 children. That's about the sizes. Most of them are 3 bedrooms with maybe 1.5 baths. It's not, so it's somewhat, I'm not saying you, but it's somewhat misleading, the way it's been done. But
Madam Chair?
Okay, yes, sir.
Can I ask a clarification question
Sure.
also? And can you distinguish the single-family definition from the boarding house? I'm confused as to why it wouldn't qualify as a
Right.
boarding house.
So under Dover, that's what addresses the use. So Dover is comparable to a boarding house use, right? It's kind of it's instead of a boarding house, it qualifies under Dover. So it's a educational residential use as defined under Section 40A, Section 3.
Okay.
So it can't be both, I guess.
I see.
Madam Chair, can I make a comment before taking more public?
Sure.
Comment? Thank you. So I just want everybody to understand a little bit more about the process and try to make it easier. Any of us will get notified as an abutter, and the town is required to notify us when a property within a certain radius deviates from the law, okay? In this case, this property does not deviate from the law, so you were not notified. And we can explain why it didn't deviate from the zoning law. Let's say the house, the single-family home being built, it violated the setbacks. So you mentioned that it's so big and it's in a postage stamp lot. It currently does not violate any of those setbacks. The foundation has been poured, and believe it or not, in that zoning district, it is not violating any setbacks. If it were, you would have been notified, and they would have had to come before us to ask for a variance from those setbacks. Sorry, I'll keep going. Keep your question, though, please. The other reason you aren't notified is because the use is appropriate as well. It's a single-family home, despite what we think. By law, it is protected. It's protected and it's classified as a single-family house. I just want to make sure you guys understand that as you pursue. You know, this will likely be continued. I don't see why we would not grant that, of course. But just understand some of those aspects. So I would encourage you to look at the definition of single-family home versus boarding house, and then look at the Dover law that makes this particular property a single-family home. Okay, that's it.
Yeah,
We
so
can take more.
essentially what she's saying is that if it meets all the zoning requirements, we are not at liberty to discuss aesthetics. If you were going to build this same exact house, we would not be here. Okay, in the interest of time, Sarah, I'd like to move it along to you. Who have your hand up?
Good afternoon, Jose Ayala, 102 Lake Street. I guess, given that the company that is pursuing this building is basically utilizing a loophole, because you're right, you are defining what it is, the construction. I think our concerns isn't necessarily whether it violates the construction or not, it's the end user, how it's going to be utilized and how it's going to impact our children, our traffic, everything that's going on around us. So I presume that because this is going in under a loophole of the residents, there had no requirements for an environmental study, no requirements for a traffic study, no requirements for the impact that it was going to have in the community, correct? Is that what I'm assuming?
That's correct.
That is correct, because it's only going under a loophole, and the gentleman actually said it. He wouldn't state what the use was, because it's under the Dover law, right? Which the Dover law protects it, and I understand that 100%, but at the end of the day, you're telling us that we have to accept a boarding house for substance abuse in a residential neighborhood where we have children, where we raise our kids, where our kids roam freely through there. So, again, as you pointed out, Ms. Cassette, there's no violation, because I looked at it myself. I looked at the plot, I looked at what's going on there. You're right, it looks like a typical foundation. It does meet the setbacks on either side, on all sides, but the problem here isn't that. The problem here is the use.
I would like to just read to you, if I could.
Yes, ma'am.
So the use, substance-free housing has been defined as a protected use under the Dover Amendment. The Dover Amendment states that no zoning bylaws can regulate the use of land or structures for educational purposes or leased by a nonprofit educational organization. So that's the Dover Amendment. So, anyone else wish to be heard on this matter? Any new people? Ma'am? Name and address, please.
Yep, Heidi Anderson, 7 Janet Circle. So from my front window, I diagonally am gonna look right at this house. I have little kids in my house, 2-year-olds and 5-year-olds, that where are all these cars gonna park? That's what if it's an 8-bedroom house, do people have cars? How about the workers? Where are they parking? My little ones are riding their scooters right past this house. That, it's the parking, and I'm sorry, it is the end, it's the end use. What's gonna be there? And, and there's little kids all in this neighborhood. It's just sad, no, it can't happen.
Okay, thank you. Sir?
Jim Anderson, it's my wife. I don't understand, I know you guys, you gotta look at the legal thing, that's kind of cold. This is a family neighborhood. When we moved there, the reason I bought there was this is almost like a cul-de-sac road over huge. People that go there, they belong there. We know everybody in the neighborhood. I know all these people. I know who belongs there and who doesn't. Someone's wrong there, we go over and ask, hey, what are you doing here? And do you know someone in the neighborhood? Oh, okay, good. I'm Jim Anderson. Glad to meet you. And that's how that neighborhood goes. When you have that in there, now you've got 16 people going in there. 16 people we don't know. 16 people that we don't know what their backgrounds are. 16 people parking cars and driving up and down the road. Going which way? Coming down by my house? Going up around the circle? Where are they coming from? Who are they bringing in there? Are they bringing more people in there? What's the end use of this property? What if this fails? What are you going to put in there? Do anybody here know anybody that needs an 8-bedroom house? That's ridiculous. What are you going to do with it? Now you're going to have this 8-bedroom house there that nobody was going to want. So that's it for that property right there. You're going to have an 18-bedroom. Also, the next door neighbors, you have this huge house there. People are looking right down in their back rooms, their backyards, seeing everything they do, watching it, and you don't even know who's in. I have people looking in my back room, my backyard, but I know the people behind me. I know who's in the backyard. I know the guy next to me that's getting back. I know Donnie's looking out his front window. I know these guys. And I see what it is, and I know that my family's safe. Now you're telling me, because of the legal law, I have to go and buy Simply Safe. I gotta go buy cameras. I'm gonna have to watch these people. I'm gonna have to be out there with my kids. When my kids grew up there, my daughter's right here, when my kids grew up there, we'd go, all right, go out and ride your bike. Now you're gonna tell me that my grandchildren that are growing up there now, they are never gonna be able to do that. Because who knows? I don't know who's in that building. And the builders, shame on them. They never said, this is what, why not just come and tell us? Talk to us about it. What is this gonna be? How's it gonna work? Now, what I'm finding out, my son's a police officer in Nashua. I'm finding out that these things, they don't do education. They don't do anything. That's why you can do it. You get away with it. There's no education. There's no help for them. This is a place for them to live, to sober up. And if they fall off the wagon, they get a blood test and they get kicked out. But it's too late then. My little kid could be run over by that person coming back drunk or under substance abuse. That's the concern. And if we allow this to be put in there, shame on all of you. Shame on everybody here too, for us letting them do that.
Okay.
Do you mind if I just make a comment?
I also have one, but where you're taking more.
Sure, if you want to comment, go ahead.
Yeah.
Excuse me for a second, we're going to have a comment here.
No, sure. I just, look, I, as a member of the board, as a member of the community, I understand the sort of feeling of surprise that it seems that a lot of you are feeling about not getting notification about this, and the concerns that it would affect your home and your neighborhood. I think at the same time, as a board member and as a member of the community, I have people in my own family who are in recovery. I think it's a sad fact.
We all do.
Right. And it's a sad fact of life right now in the Commonwealth. I don't know if you can find a family who hasn't been touched by addiction or this opioid crisis or alcoholism or any of these things. And so I think that the idea of providing a place where people can get treatment is laudable, and that's obviously for legal reasons, not the issue here. But I would say I think all of that can be true, and at the same time I can understand why you would all be concerned about a house in a single-family neighborhood that would have potentially 16 residents in it, and how that affects traffic and parking and noise and things that are completely unrelated to the use of the property, but are simply a function of the number of people that live there. And so I just wanted to just sort of throw out that perspective that I understand that aspect of it being something that I believe we can consider, the sort of the externalities, if you will, of the number of people that live in that structure and how that affects your neighborhood. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Peter. Lisa?
I just wanted to, I guess, what's the word? Reiterate that as well, and also explain that though traffic doesn't need to be looked at and all a traffic study wasn't done and all these other things because it's a single family use, I don't look at it as the owner was going through a loophole. I look at it as the owner was taking advantage of a protection for that use. So there's loopholes, and then there are laws put in place to protect facilities like that, like this, that help our community. And I completely understand the fear you have. This is different and not what you're used to in your neighborhood, but at the same time, this use is protected by these laws. So I just encourage you again to look at that. We'll hear more comment. And I also encourage you to look in the public record with the building inspector, a letter from St. James Francis Homes describing the use of this property is on record, so please get that as well before you can, okay, good.
Thank you, Lisa. Sir?
Yes, I'm Kurt Anderson, 114 Lake Street in Shrewsbury. I would just like to say that it's common known fact that drug addicts and alcoholics have a 40 to 60% chance of staying sober, right? And as someone mentioned, you know, if someone relapses and they come roaring down the street, you know, you've got that 40%, I'll go on the low end, times 18 people every day of the week that we're gonna have to worry. Is someone coming home drunk, or someone coming home high, and we have a 1-year-old, and we are just
terrified.
It's just,
Unnecessary.
my dad was sober 42 years, he's deceased now, and he would not be for this. I guarantee you he would not be for this. We live in the same house, we bought their house. He would not be for this, I know that.
Kurt grew up in this neighborhood.
I grew up, I've been here since 1971.
Thank you.
And I have a lot of, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Molly Anderson, 114 Lake Street, Kurt's wife. So yes, when we received that lovely little letter from, I think it was someone in this crowd, she came up to our nanny and offered it. We were shocked, surprised, upset, horrified, terrified. We called the planning board, right, honey?
Yep.
And we basically said, what's going on? And we were told, there's nothing you can do about it. There's no appeal process. Get used to it, have a nice day.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how surprised we were to find out we even had the option to appeal.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know, on top of all of this crap going on, I have two questions for you. First of all, why'd you lie to us? Second of all, if this went up in your neighborhood with your children,
sitting
would
here.
you live there?
You'd be sitting here with us, guaranteed if it went up in your neighborhood.
Or
I-
your
I-
daughters, or your granddaughters?
I would make a comment that there are a lot of protected properties like this in our neighborhoods, and we all do live in Shrewsbury, so
Main Street.
we understand.
Not in your neighborhood, ma'am.
I'm not, this is not an argument, these are comments that we're allowing you the time to express your opinion, thank you. Sir? Sir?
Oh, my. I
Yeah.
don't recall lying.
Okay. I'm sorry, can you repeat your name, please?
Yeah.
Circle.
Thank
What
you,
if the paperwork and the petitions were gathered to repeal this act?
You are appealing.
No, I'm talking the Dover amendment.
So,
Now,
you're gonna have,
would you give us time to do that?
I believe that we're gonna continue this, so you're gonna have ample time to get together. If,
We gotta consider the motion first, but
yeah, we have to consider it first, and then, yeah,
Yeah.
you have 30 days.
Does anybody else want to be?
July 26th.
Sir?
Johnny Green, lived in that neighborhood 64 years. About 20 years ago, we had to get a permit to put up a shed. I don't know how that balances with what's going on now, but it's a residential neighborhood, there are a lot of children, there's gonna be 16 or 18 bad people living there, plus the counselors, plus delivery trucks every day. Where does that leave us? It just isn't right, it was jammed down our goddamn throats.
Okay. Is there any other comments, ma'am?
Hi, I'm Kate Miola, 43 Janet Circle, and my house faces the back of this dwelling. My question is regarding maximum occupancy of the building or the premises, and if there do end up being issues with cars and parking, as there is no place for any cars to park in that spot, what is the town going to do about that to remedy it?
Good question. Ms. McAllister?
I can't speak to occupancy. I think that's determined by fire code. It would be my guess. Unfortunately, I'm not sure. I'm not aware. And then in terms of parking, I mean, each single-family home is required a spot and a half, according to our zoning bylaw. And then the street is public, so there is an ability to park on the street as well.
We have a nighttime
Okay.
nighttime parking.
We understand, and I'm trying really, really hard to listen to everybody that has something to say.
Well, I can get back to you on that.
Okay, we'll
perhaps.
get back to you on
We can
that
get
point, thank you.
A clear answer.
Ma'am?
Laurie Mannion, 7 Roger Street. So, just speaking to that question, how does that work during the parking ban? Because with weather and plowing and.
We're gonna get back to you on that.
Unfortunately, I can't speak to that right now, but I can write that.
Great question.
Yep, good question, very good question. Is there anybody else that wishes to be heard anew? Sir?
My name is Robert Fulgenetti. I live at 74 Janet Circle. It's the property directly next to number 2. I know that you guys have offered the builder to continue at his own risk, but what is the board going to do when they do violate that setback policy and that builds out over the zoned area where he's not allowed to build? So he has the foundation in already, but then he still hasn't added anything else onto the side of the house, whether it be the decks and or the chimney that abuts out the side facing my house, and it's built right to my stone wall. There's barely a trail to walk behind it. What is the town capable of doing once they go forward on Thursday and start building this thing and it builds out bigger than?
So that's under the purview of the building inspector, and I can promise you that she will be watching this project very carefully.
Is it something that he would be required to remove or tear down?
If it's not within the, yes, he would.
Well,
Maybe, yeah.
but
Well,
I mean,
unless you come in front
I
of the
wouldn't,
board.
I wouldn't be able to
Right.
speak to
For a
that,
special
but,
permit. Right.
yeah, I think that's beyond the purview of this board at this time.
So it's another good
So,
question as
yeah, we can
well.
pass it along.
Yep. And occupancy permits can't be issued, things like that when there are violations.
Yes,
But
if
that
there's a
should be all.
violation, you won't get a CO as well. That's true.
Let's get
Good question. Thank you.
answers to that for the
Is
next.
there anyone else new that wishes to be heard? You have a,
Sorry, I just had one more question, if
Sure,
that's possible.
sure.
Laura Lanning, 7 Rogers Street. Is there any, and I don't know any legal part of it, but is there any notification of criminality, or like if there's, because I know like with certain offenses, neighbors are notified. Would we have any notification if there's something we need to be concerned about, at least to?
It's a good question.
Watch our
We do not have
neighborhood?
the answer to that, but we will.
And it's not a zoning
And
issue.
it's not
I'm not
beyond
even
our
sure we'll be
purview.
able to get it.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
beyond the purview of our board.
this is an appeal of the
unfortunately.
building permit.
Register. Is there any other like registration or anything that we would have to be watching for, or would there be any notification of anything? And I'm not against people getting help, I just want to know, like, how vigilant do we have to be?
So
It's a good question for the police.
Police
That's a police
department,
department
yeah.
question.
we won't know that as part of
Thank you,
zoning,
Bill.
but I would.
Is there anybody else for now that wishes to be heard on this matter? Okay, let us vote to continue this hearing. If I could get a motion to,
Sorry, Madam Chair, is there any discussion? Do we need to
board
discuss?
discussion, or we?
Do we, are we all in favor of continuing?
Close
Is
the-
there a
close the
risk
public hearing.
to continuing?
Yeah, we
All
have
of
to do
that.
that as well.
I believe, I don't have it in front of me,
I know,
you
we're
are
not
able to continue.
Oh, that's
I
right.
believe 60 days, but I can double check, but at
And
least
the
till the next
owner,
one.
the owner is
think we can
going
go
to
up to
continue
60.
at his own risk, knowing the
Correct.
appeal of, this appeal could be approved or denied in 30 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
60.
July 26th is when we're thinking?
Well, it could be 60 days.
60? What
Well, we'd
is
have to
the-
decide, I guess, right?
Yes, right. I think there's risk there.
Could we do 30 days?
Are we
and then-
still
30
taking
days.
public comment, Madam Chair?
I just have to ask a question.
Sure.
If this structure's already built and they deny it, then and something happens and we say you can't do it, you already got an 8-bedroom thing there, what are you gonna do with it? That's my point. It's an 8-bedroom building, it's huge. He's sitting there, what do you do with that now? What's the town gonna do with it?
It's not,
don't
it's
own
not,
it.
it's not, the town does not own it. It's private property.
It's gonna be there, they walk away from it, it's a vacant lot.
I don't think they'll walk away from it.
Just gotta worry about that.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Deliberating.
Yeah, so for the board, I think I'd,
Decide on a 30 or a 60 day.
I think
And I
I'd,
think 30 is going to be what we need.
yeah, I would be inclined to do 30 days, and
Not do 60.
if folks need more time, they could come back to us again at that time and ask for more time if necessary, but I think I'd encourage,
Summer vacations, you can't do 60.
We have to close.
it
We have
sounds
to
like,
close the, yeah, there are no more comments, I'm sorry, we just have to,
Well,
it sounds like people are eager to move things along, and so I think 30 days is probably
I think
what
that
I
makes
would
the most
start
sense.
with. So, I move to continue to the July 26th meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you.
See you all July
See you all
26th.
We have to,
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
do we have any new business? No.
no,
All right,
we closed
so we have
the,
to move to adjourn then.
Okay.
Oh, motion to close the, no, I
No,
think we
I
have,
will.
sorry.
Move to adjourn then.
move to adjourn.
No, we have
I
something
didn't
else,
hear
don't
you.
I move to adjourn.
Second?
Keep
we?
track for
Move
you.
to adjourn?
Peter
I move to
moved, I
adjourn.
seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.